hour, asking for your blessings and help as we are gathered together. We pray for your guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our business and work with a spirit and joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Yes, welcome again, everybody. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo. Aye. Ms. Moody.
Here.
Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Mr. Redding. Ms. Dosa.
Aye.
Mr. George.
Aye.
Ms. Sheets.
Here. Aye.
Okay.
Whichever works.
Okay, we have one person absent, Mr. Redding.
Make a motion to excuse Mr. Redding.
Okay, we have a motion to excuse Mr. Redding by Mr. George.
I second.
Denise, was that you, or
That
Keisha,
was-
was that you?
Yes.
Okay, Keisha has seconded it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You have before you the minutes from the September 7th meeting. Are there any corrections or anybody's seen? I read through it, but I don't see a lot of misspellings and stuff. I'll read over them.
I didn't see any, but that doesn't mean I'm not the one that's the,
I didn't see any, but again.
Well, I would like something inserted, both in Ordinance 21-1963 and 21-1964, because we had a discussion about the money and can we really use it for an ambulance. And my concern of, and I will tell you, I've done more studying. Scott and I have listened to tapes, looked at spreadsheets or slides. I've asked the question to the speaker of the, and I'm just more confused about our use of money for the COVID money, the ARP money used for the ambulance. But the one thing I would like to see for the minutes is that if for some reason we're audited and it's found that we cannot use the money, I was told that we could then sell the ambulance so that the city is not held for that money. And I'd like that in the minutes, so I hope it doesn't come to that. I would love us to be able to buy ambulances, so I have no argument about getting ambulances. I just want to make sure, and the more research I do, the more confused I am. So,
Was that said in the last meeting? We could sell the ambulance?
No.
Yeah, I think if you want to do that, I don't think this is the place to do it, because I think, but these reflect what was discussed.
and that was discussed and
that we would
stated.
Sell the.
We didn't-
I specifically asked you the question, what if during the audit, we find that we cannot use the money for the ambulance, then we are stuck. And how do we get ourselves out of it? And your answer was, we would sell the ambulances.
no, I don't believe that was, I thought they said we could find the money somewhere else.
No, and I'm going to be really hard on this. You said that to
I
me.
did not, I'm not going to agree
We
to
can go
say
back,
something.
we can go
All right,
back and
sure.
listen to it.
I think we need to go back and listen.
We would not sell it.
We have
We're only
the
using
money
a
in
part,
the
maybe
relief fund.
$80,000, maybe, of the COVID money for that. If we can't do it, we've got other carryover in the fire department that we would use.
I'm not talking about, I do not believe that the minutes reflect the discussion, and I want them to reflect the discussion, and they don't.
Okay.
But I think we should go back and look at the recording to make sure it reflects it correctly, because I'm sorry, Cindy, but I did not have any understanding that it would be sold. I thought there was other understanding that the money could be
I
found.
did not make this up.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm just telling you my opinion. My opinion is I didn't remember you saying that.
I
And
didn't
you
say
said
it.
you did.
Bill said it.
Bill said it. I still think we need to go back and look at the minutes. If we're going to reflect it accurately, there's no problem with doing that.
As long as we do it accurately.
Right,
And that's what I want.
right. I agree.
Can we table the minutes till the next meeting?
Yeah, sure.
So we can all go back and look, and see what was said?
Yep, I think that's a good idea.
Can I make one other change?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we'll have everything but that?
I can't table it, so
On
that's
page,
all.
No.
on page 5, the first paragraph about the levy not being on the ballot. The first word in the fourth line and the last word in the fourth line should not be renewal. It should be continuing. We asked for it to be continuing, and it couldn't be continuing.
Right.
It had to be a renewal. So those two renewal words should be continuing. And we will see what we want to do about the discussion on the ambulance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I said it, I don't remember that, so.
Okay. Well, I move that we table the minutes until we can accurately reflect the discussion on the ambulances from the September 7th meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, Jenny's made a motion to table the minutes. Mr. George has seconded that. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay.
Moving on.
Correspondence, I have nothing as far as correspondence goes. Guest and special events, we have none. Public input. Guess it's up to you, Paul. Okay. Committee reports. Ms. Moody?
Yes, I went to the Business Association meeting, and I'll briefly try to go over some of the things that were discussed. Kim did ask the businesses that if there was any news from their businesses that they wanted posted, that they needed to send it to her, because they were been working hard to keep the business webpage current and also promoting the businesses in town. A membership committee is going to start working on securing more business membership for the Business Association. There was a new member there, which we were very happy to see, and she requested, wanting to know why the city has put up the 1-hour parking signs, but has not put up new signs that denote where the parking lots are. Because she's trying to let her customers know where the parking lots are, and thought that if we were going to put the new signs up for 1 hour, could we put new signs up to say where the parking lots are?
I can answer that real quick.
Sure.
We've ordered the signs, they just aren't in yet.
Great,
Yeah.
all right, I'll let Kim know that, she can get back to the okay. Rob Kunkel and Pastor Bob English from the Alliance were present, and Rob wanted to know, he needs a contact for Compton Apartments. They've been trying to reach out through the Alliance to do youth work there or to be supportive, and he does not know who to contact. So if Mayor or, what's your name there?
Guillermo?
Yeah, Guillermo, if you, my mind went blank there, I'm looking at you. If you can, after the meeting or sometime, get me a contact for Rob so he could contact them to try to work. I don't know where we are on that, but, Bill, thank you very much, Bill. Okay, they can't seem to make a connection. Superintendent Hawkins and Business Manager Gary Crowley were there from the school district. They talked about the board office renovations. They're looking at having a community gym, an exercise room, a laundromat, and other availability to the community. And they've got money to work with, and they're trying to see what they can get for the money that they have allotted to completely redo the board office. And I would imagine they're going to be putting in an elevator so that the third floor can be used. Superintendent also talked about the Wi-Fi capabilities, and they're hoping, and Bill, you could correct me on this, that the Cincinnati Bell's hoping to start connecting in December or running some more lines.
Well, I think the goal is for it to be done in September.
In
I don't-
December, you mean December?
December,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But I don't, there's a lot of logistics that have to happen, but they're meeting weekly, giving updates, and yes, so, yeah, they're hoping that, I'm sure there's some connectivity for the students by then, but I don't know if the complete project will be done.
Okay. Looking at more electives for the high school students, they already started a culinary course, they've hired a chef, sign language, fiber arts, and they're looking at other electives in the future. They feel like they don't have enough electives for the students there. The Historical Society was there, and on October the 9th, they're going to have an open house from 2 to 4. There were overall questions about Christmas in Mount Healthy. That was sponsored in the past by the Renaissance Project. They have not heard anything, did not know if the city has heard anything about.
I can answer that.
Oh, great.
We formed a committee to talk about it. We only had one meeting, though.
Okay.
But we'd like to do it very small scale compared to what it was 2 years ago.
Okay,
And we would abide by whatever COVID or state guidelines are at that time. Paul Young's doing theirs on December, what'd I say, 9th? 11th.
okay,
So we're going to choose that day, and we may start later, because if it's too early before Paul Young, people come there, they don't want to come back and forth.
okay.
We're going to go to business personally.
And I'll have a
Talk to
business.
them.
I have a business owner that probably would be,
Okay,
like
great.
to help. So
I'm
I'll
going
give
to
you
try
that
to
name.
tell them, maybe not do activities, because that's too many people
Right.
crowded in there, but maybe they can have a sale on something, or just to get
Okay.
them in the door.
Great.
But I'll keep you posted.
Is that going to be sponsored by the Renaissance Project?
No,
No.
I don't know.
Okay, it's a community, it's a community group.
Just 4 of us, just getting together, trying to do it.
Okay,
And
so-
I talked to the city about getting some funds just for some.
Okay, so if anybody wants to join your group or be
Oh, yeah.
supportive, okay, I'll
Yeah,
let the
anybody,
person know.
yeah. Like I
Okay.
said, they just met one time so far.
Okay.
Just this weekend.
Good, all right, I'll let Kim know that too. And then I'll just go on to beautification, is that okay?
Got Alliance?
Oh, the Alliance, well, that was Rob. I mean, they almost have their, I believe they're close, or maybe they have by now their director for the youth, but they're still doing the food pantry. Nothing else has changed, except that he wanted a connection, because they do want to reach out and do some work. They want to take, instead of the kids coming to the church, they want to take the program out to the neighborhood where the needs are, and that's why they wanted a connection with Compton Apartments. Okay, beautification, I just want to thank the people that have helped water, and I hope I'm not leaving anybody else. I will say Janet Curley not only keeps the pots up in front of the antique mall, but she also waters and keeps up the pots that are in that little alleyway there that's owned by the city. And I appreciate Denise helping, Bob, Keisha, and, you know, the plants are looking a little weak and, you know, toward the end of the summer, but we're still continuing to water, and we're going to get a lot of water in the next couple days. So I just want to, I wish we would have had more this year. We had some businesses, but with the COVID situation, also because Hamilton Avenue, there was some work done at the corners, but I'm hoping, and I won't be on council next year, that we can do a little more with beautification and maybe get some significant pots that really bring attention, and maybe can work on that. But Greg and Public Works, they do an outstanding job working with the few of us that plant flowers and support the businesses. That's it.
Thank you, Jenny. Finance, Mr. Parsons.
Yeah, the Finance Committee, Finance Committee met before this meeting to go over the August financial statements, and the committee had some really good questions, and there were some good answers. Few items over budget, few items under budget will need to be watched, and everything is pretty much in line, and things, a lot of revenues that were not expected, not budgeted, which is a good thing. So we look to be in good shape as of August, and we'll keep an eye on it.
Super. Questions?
Okay, so we have a budget that we'll be looking over to approve
For next year?
for next year? Yeah,
That'll be
when?
available late November, probably, or early,
Okay.
Just trying to make
end of November.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
I usually wait till, we get the end, as far as we
Yeah.
get in September, so we almost have 9 months. And then I submit the sheets to all department heads. They'll get them back to me by October, and we'll start the process. We'll have a meeting with finance, and then we'll get 2 readings, and plan is to have passed by.
And then usually we have cleanup ordinances in December, right?
Yeah. Usually
When we
last-
get
last
closer,
meeting
or
usually.
January, or is it December?
Usually the second meeting in December.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Parks, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
I'll tell you something.
Mr. Redding's not here for streets and safety. Schools, Mr. George.
Not much to report tonight. Jenny, you brought up a ton of good stuff.
Yeah, I thought about when I was reporting
Yeah.
this, and I didn't want to steal your thunder, but she happened to come to the Business Association meeting, so I'm like.
You're fine. Actually, Gary Crowley, you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
He's great. He's new to the district, and I actually coach his son.
Right.
He's on my football team this year, so.
Oh, so he lives in the district?
He doesn't, but because.
He works here?
Right.
That's awesome.
Yep, so.
And they did bring up, real quick, about, they did ask whether they have community service hours right now, and they don't, because of conflict with, with COVID and other
Yeah, they're
things that the kids have to do.
Probably given some exemptions.
But I did talk about you and the
Okay.
fact that we're looking at maybe the football team being able to do a cleanup at some
Right,
point.
right.
Yeah, so thanks.
Great. So, besides that, next week is homecoming. So be looking out for the parade that evening, and be a lot of traffic in the streets and a lot of fun stuff going on. And home game this week, there will be a Hall of Fame induction at halftime during the game this Friday, and then homecoming next Friday. Besides that, that's all I have.
Super, thank you very much. Library, Ms. Dosa.
Nothing new to report.
Okay. Urban Tree, Denise.
Yes, there's going to be a 2021 tree giveaway for Mount Healthy and North College Hill. Taking Root is providing a limited number of free trees to Mount Healthy and North College Hill. And you can go to Tree for Me, and there's a website. These are downstairs, right, for people to pick up, Bill? These,
There's
Yeah.
some right outside here, too.
Yeah, too, yeah.
okay. So you can contact the city for the email address and so forth. And you'll choose like Mount Healthy or North College Hill. Nate Torps is supplying the 5-gallon containers, about 5 feet tall. Residents claiming trees will receive a confirmation from Taking Root and must pick up the trees on Saturday, November 6, 2021, from 10 to 12 at the Mount Healthy City Park. And the trees that are available, Eastern Redbud, Swamp White Oak, Dawn Redwood, Royal Raindrops Crabapple, Black Gum, and Fall Fiesta Sugar Maple. So it sounds really nice if somebody needs any trees, like I said. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Denise. We Thrive, Ms. Sheets.
We did meet on August the 24th, and Clevernook is always part of our discussion anymore. Also, there's been an offer of bags for the farmer's market that has something printed on them. We're looking at how to use those. Possible public arts project, pop-up food banks, and getting more voices to the table. And we will meet next Tuesday for our next meeting. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mayor's report, Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, the last farmer's market for the year will be on October 3rd from 11 to 2 o'clock at Fibonacci. Also, just so you're in the loop, Bill and Chief DeMasi and I are meeting with the superintendent tomorrow. Just talk about strategy moving forward and how to respond with some of the issues with the city and school district. So we are meeting tomorrow at 3:30 to do that. And then to kind of jump off what you mentioned about the culinary department, it's actually pretty fascinating what they're doing. And in fact, today, the culinary department reached out to me to connect them with Kim Cremines, because they are looking to create an internship program with any of the local restaurants that would be interested in doing so. So I think it's a great thing, and he can actually teach them how to cook the things that would be cooked in the restaurants while they're at school. So some real job training going on, some opportunities to connect with the businesses. One thing I will say, because you've announced a lot of the initiatives going on with the district, and I do want people to know this. So the new superintendent has created a new position that didn't exist before, and it's a position for major fundraising. And this person is reaching out to major corporations and other foundations, et cetera, in ways that our district hasn't done before. So I know they secured a $40,000 grant almost right off the bat. Or not a grant, a donation. We've always had a grant person. Now we have someone working specifically for major donations. And it's been very helpful with some of these programs. So that is where a lot of that money is coming from. And it's been very helpful so far. Also, they are remodeling for the new clinic with Healthcare Connection in the building right now. So hopefully that will take root soon. We've had a lot of COVID issues, a lot of teams quarantined, a lot of our students aren't vaccinated, and unfortunately, schools are going to be closed on October 11th to 12th. I know it seems weird because it's a while off. They're trying to figure out how to manage it properly.
I think there's dates.
Or 11th through 22nd.
Yeah.
Sorry. They're having issues with staffing. In fact, things as crazy as you can imagine, they're not getting, Borden is not delivering the milk they're supposed to deliver in the cafeteria because Borden says they don't have drivers. And Paper Supply Company is not delivering plates and utensils because they don't have the products in the supply chain. So there's a lot of things that have nothing to do with the school district itself that are becoming a real problem right now. So they're hoping to get those things sorted out from the 11th through 22nd. Bus drivers have been an issue as well. A lot of absent bus drivers. I know my kid's own bus has been changed from 7:20 pickup to 6:30 pickup to 5:45 pickup. Because what's happening is there's so few bus drivers right now that the same bus drivers that used to just drive to South or just drive to the high school or just drive to the Catholic schools are now doing all of the routes. So it's a real issue. I just want people to be aware that schools are open and that's good and we want to keep them open. But the logistics are getting very challenging right now. And there's a lot of people frustrated. People have
Yes.
reached out to me as mayor, frustrated about transportation and things like that. Without employees and with people quarantined, you can't fix that. So it's an issue. And it's an issue not just here, but regionally. It's going on. And unfortunately, I know some of you saw Little Dutch has been closed for 2 weeks now. And Chris Gearman's in the hospital right now. So I ask you all to pray for him and with COVID. So he posted that on the Little Dutch page. So things are getting challenging again. So I just ask you all to chip in and do your part and ask the community to make sure you're vaccinated and do what you can so that we can stay in school and keep the city running. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Anybody have any questions for the mayor?
Was there anything anybody can do? I mean, I know that we can't pick up kids and take them to school, but if the kids are in school, I mean, is there picking up milk to get it to school?
No, we're talking distribution trucks from Cleveland. Apparently, the Borden distribution comes from Cleveland, and that's it's crazy right now.
I did see that Governor DeWine was talking about getting the
Yes.
National Guard to
Yes.
start driving school buses.
Yes. Yeah,
Massachusetts has done that.
yeah. So it's a mess right now.
Okay, moving on. Mr. Coger, City Manager's Report.
Thanks. First item, I've asked the chief to come to the next meeting because I think if you recall, the curfew expires on the 5th, which will be our next meeting. And talking with him today, I think he's going to ask for it to be extended for a little while. I think it's helping out somewhat. We've still had some issues there. But it seems to be a good tool for them. I don't think we've not made arrests, but it's definitely like that conversation that, started to say, hey, we need to disperse here or whatever. So he'll be here and just plan on seeing that ordinance. Hopefully, we'll have enough that we can just waive the 2 reading and again, I think maybe get it into November, 1st of December should be fine, and then we can see where it goes from there. And on that, I get an update. I keep peppering them with the same questions. The latest from them is we're working with 4 companies to get quotes and to confirm they can staff site appropriately. Due to staffing shortages, the hardest task for the companies is to ensure they can staff the site appropriately. We're still working on hiring the right company. License plate reader, which we recommended and which we have uptown, it's been very successful. so when cars drive by there that have warrant hits on them, we're alerted and it can help. The contracts have been signed with Flock Security, same company we've worked with, for the license plate readers. We're in the final stages of having the work completed. That's really good news. That'll be helpful. So, and that's I think those are $5,000 or a piece, or $2,500. So it's not a small investment on their behalf. Parking enforcement, parking stickers have been ordered for the site. Towing company has been engaged, and we're setting up parking procedures for the residents. So again, they are responding. I keep calling it, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but they're there, and we can hopefully continue your support next meeting. And besides the article in the paper, that's really all we've had. We've not gotten any pushback from Clovernook or anything on that. So kind of good news. You guys are probably getting tired of seeing my updated street priorities, and I updated it, I think, from what we discussed at the last meeting. Added the section that we talked about for Warner. I actually went ahead and added Harding because, like I said, when you have those little small streets in that area, you'd want to pick those up during that time as well. But the good news is, and I don't know if anybody read the paper, but we also applied for, and you guys passed this ordinance back in summer, authorizing for us to apply for funds through the Metro Bus Capital Project. And it looks like they're going to fund Compton Road, our #1 priority, through OPWC.
Nice.
With 80%.
Wow.
Which is great, about 160-some thousand. Now, the only difference here, and we can work this through finance, is that it's not part of the state OPWC, so we will have to fund the about 13% for engineering, and then the 20%, which is approximately $340,000. So there's a couple different things I think we can look at to do that. We do have a decent carryover in the street levy fund, but we don't have to use all that. We could come up with figuring that out, but obviously thrilled that, to get 860 that we paid to get that project. So I think we just move, I'm assuming that we just want to move the second priority, the Madison Avenue Park Forest project, up as our one priority. And then I wanted to get input from you guys tonight on what is our second priority. And we don't have to confirm that because you're going to see in the language later, it's a pretty generic request for OPWC because, again, there's a lot of moving parts, right? So we didn't specify in the ordinance tonight authorizing me to apply for the funds for OPWC. What specific street it is, it's just open to general for capital improvements, and we'll go over that when we do the ordinance. So I mean, the second priority would just either we can discuss it tonight or we can maybe give me direction. But I think it's good for us to submit two projects, #1 priority, #2 priority, and that kind of has been guiding us as we move along as to kind of those are our target streets, And of course, it doesn't mean that we are going to necessarily 100% do it's changed based on needs and different things, but I think it's always good to have that second priority. So.
You put the wrong Madison
Yeah.
with Werner. That Madison with Harding should be with the Park and Forest. I mean, with the forest, the first one there.
Well,
Madison from Maple Park. No, I'm sorry. The Warner Avenue should have Madison from Harrison to Werner.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last meeting.
so the Warner, which we're saying from Compton to South Terminus,
Plus Madison from Werner to Harrison. Up here we have Madison Avenue, Hamilton to Harrison,
Madison Avenue, Perry to Elizabeth.
Which is on the other side.
It's on the other side. So you're,
You're skipping the Madison from Harrison to Warner. All
Right.
the other Madisons are being done.
Your Madison Maple to Park with Harding should be a separate,
but, so if we go Madison to Harrison, then,
Warner to Harrison.
Warner to Harrison.
so, you're Warner to I don't know.
This is right behind Paul Young Funeral Home, straight behind the funeral home. And it goes from Harris.
Isn't that, so it says Madison Avenue from, so if you look at the second priority up there, under our street name, Madison Avenue from Hamilton to Harrison.
That's right next to Paul Young Funeral Home.
Okay.
Then there's Madison from
And
Harrison
it
to
jogs
Warner.
over, and it goes from Harrison up to Warner.
Okay.
That's the one that should be with the Warner
Yeah.
project.
That's what we talked about last time, yeah.
Either that or, I mean, I don't know. Either that or,
Denise's.
why is Madison
Yeah, that's like the worst street in that city.
it's not even listed? Do that, but really, that should be.
Yeah, but that's
near
just,
here, shouldn't
that's
it?
just a grind and overlay, I think. And
Okay, the other one's reconstruction.
these are
Right.
rebuilt.
Denise's blocks, we can just leave them
Yeah.
off.
You're right.
So then you're saying then under that Madison Avenue
Part
from
of a
Hamilton
small
to
city.
Harrison, then Harrison to Warner?
That's part of the Warner project.
That's part of the Madison project.
You're confusing me.
I thought we were putting it
Madison-
with the Warner Avenue.
But see, that doesn't connect with Warner.
Yes, it
Yes,
does.
it does.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
3 houses from Warner.
No, I'm not trying to argue, I'm just,
No, I'm
tell
just
me
tell-
understand, just help me understand.
It does, it,
So I thought that's what I did here. So this Warner Avenue project, Compton Road to South Terminus, then Madison, Maple to Park, you're
That's
saying,
another
that's where
side.
you're saying.
that's a
that.
block,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
block
It's-
away.
That's a block, you missed a place in between.
And between Warner and Maple, that doesn't need to be done, because that's beautiful.
Harrison to,
The one with no sidewalks there.
Oh, yeah, that's like the
I
smoothest
know.
part.
This Madison.
I don't want to think that
It's
that
Madison.
needs to be on.
Harrison to Warner.
all right, then, and then so you can't get Harding on that, though.
Well, you can get it with the Maple to Park. That should be a separate project. Madison, Maple to Park, and
Harding.
Harding.
Okay.
You saying it should be a separate project?
Got different sections.
It doesn't connect with anything else that we're doing.
Okay.
Okay. Well, here's what I can do. Let me update this.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me update this.
Because it's the other side of town.
We are going to take the first reading tonight on the OPWC project.
Over here.
All right? Knowing that the goal there is to get this number 2 priority skipped, because we don't need a number 1 on Compton, because we're going to fund that through the Metro program, right? So we're going to move that out, as that's not going to be our priority anymore. Madison, the number 2 priority is going to be the one that will let JMA know as our number 1 priority, and then our next meeting, we can identify the number 2 priority. I'll update this, and then we'll have a document that we all can look at. Cool?
Okay.
Clear as mud, right?
It's mud now. What is it?
Clear.
Okay. But again, good news, right? So that
Yeah,
we're,
that's awesome.
Yes.
Very good news.
so.
Good job.
Thanks, Bob.
We are gonna, we believe that we're having an officer that's, a full-time officer that's gonna leave, so we're gonna have to give another test. I just say we believe, he hasn't officially submitted his resignation, but once other organizations come in and start doing we kind of know it's headed that way. And I think he's, out of courtesy, he's let the chief know, look, if they offer me, I'm gonna probably go here. So we're just gonna do another test starting in, in October. It's that Wednesday, I want to say like the 21st, I believe that is. But anyway, we'll get that advertised and everything. We're going to do it over in the community room. And a lot of times, I know the chief talks about a concern with part-timers. A lot of times, after we give a test, we have an active list, and we can hire some part-timers off of that list. usually don't last very long. But we've never been able to test for part-timers. Nobody's gonna come and take a part-time test. And it's just hard to recruit, in general. I'll be very anxious to see how many people turn out for this exam. We had a decent turnout last time and got some good hires out of it. So anyway, that's in the works. After the other meeting, and it was something that I had put in a request in to the ICRC, and Cindy brought it up, is a good point, is we're trying to come up with a better accessibility for folks that want to come up and talk to council. It was awkward, Cindy had to move and everything. So what we've come up with is hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have a wireless microphone that Ross will have, and then we'll let people know if you have accessibility issues, let you guys know. And then we'll have them either, number one, not good, but the lady that was here that had, oftentimes you think of somebody being in a wheelchair, right? And you want to make sure they have access in or whatever, but there's other kinds of things that lady couldn't stand. So, we put that chair there as a place for a person to sit. They could hold the microphone kind of the same way that a person in a wheelchair could come in, because the camera behind me is the one that they'll both be able to get the camera on as well as the audio part of it. So hopefully that'll be better accessibility for the folks that come in that haven't. So anyway, we're working on that.
So Bill, who's gonna sanitize it every time somebody uses it?
Yeah, Ross, we'll give him a big pile of wipes. So
I have nothing else to do.
we'll have a vaccinated microphone and an unvaccinated.
There you
go. No. No, there'll only be one, so we'll have to work through that. And I believe
Some Lysol spray.
that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. Any questions for the city manager? Okay, moving on. Finance Director, Mr. Bauer.
Just a couple things. August is in your packets. Let me know if you have questions. I've got paperwork for the bond that we're getting for the property. So I'll need actually a signature from you, Ross, a couple from you, and from Bill, and some from Melanie, but I'll leave that here for her to sign. There was one change to the bond, a little frustrating. They quoted 1.8, it's actually gonna be 2.3. I told them to quote it the same as the previous one that we'd done last year, and basically they gave me a non-taxable rate versus a taxable rate. It's just technicality on their side, so it is gonna end up being 2.3. It's still far less than the competitor that we,
That's quite a bit different.
but it is, yes. I apologize for that. I think there was just some miscommunication as to why it was quoted that way, but it will be 2.3. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Speaking of that, that brings up a question for the city manager. Did we sign the purchase contract?
Yes. We
Okay,
do.
thank you.
Yep. We each have a copy, and everything's setting up to close on the 30th.
Good.
All right, go to resolutions and ordinances. We have no second reading on ordinances, but we have a couple second readings on the resolutions. Resolution number 21-1172. A resolution authorizing the Mount Healthy City Council to sign and accept a memorandum of understanding between the City of Mount Healthy and the Fraternal Order of Police Ohio Labor Council regarding changes to the current collective bargaining agreement covering the police sergeants. We had the first reading on this on the 7th of September. Questions or comments, council? Then I would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 21-1172.
Okay, Ms. Dosa's made a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Parsons?
Oh, Mrs. Lingo? Aye. Mrs. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, resolution number 21-1172 is adopted. Next one is resolution number 21-1173. Once again, we had the first reading on this on the 7th of September, and it is a resolution authorizing the Mount Healthy City Manager to sign and accept a memorandum of understanding between the City of Mount Healthy and the Fraternal Order of Police, the Ohio Labor Council regarding changes to the current collective bargaining agreement covering full-time police officers. Once again, resolution number 21-1173. Questions? If there are no questions, then I would ask for a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 21-1173.
Okay, Mr. George has made a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Moody has seconded. Yes, roll call.
Mrs. Lingo, aye. Mrs. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, resolution number 21-1173 is adopted. And we move to first reading of ordinances. This is ordinance number 21-1965, and is an ordinance assessing cost of the removal of litter, rubbish, and garbage and declaring an emergency. 1965. Questions?
I make a motion to waive the two reading rule. Suspend the two reading rules.
I'll sec, oh, sorry.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to suspend the two reading rule. Do I have a second? Ms. Sheets?
Oh,
Roll call.
sorry. Mrs. Lingo, aye. And Mrs. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, the two reading rule has been suspended. Is there any other discussion or questions regarding this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Mr. George has made a motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Sheets has seconded.
Mrs. Lingo? Aye. Mrs. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Ms. Dosa?
Aye. I'm sorry.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
By a vote of 6-0, ordinance number 21-1965 is adopted.
We can't read and write at the same time.
Next ordinance, an ordinance assessing cost of the removal of high grass and weeds and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 21-1966. Questions or comments?
I make a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
Ms. Sheets has made a motion to suspend the two reading rule.
I'll second.
Mr. George has seconded. Roll call.
Mrs. Lingo? Aye. Mrs. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, the two reading rule has been suspended for ordinance number 21-1966. Any questions or comments? I would ask for a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 21-1966.
Mr. Parsons has made a motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Dosa, seconded.
Mrs. Lingo? Aye. Ms. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Parsons?
Aye.
Mr. Redding? Mrs. Dosa?
Aye.
Mr. George?
Aye.
Ms. Sheets?
Aye.
Okay, by a vote of 6-0, ordinance number 21-1966 is adopted. Last resolution. A resolution authorizing the city manager of the city of Mount Healthy to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required. That is resolution number 21-1175.
And this is just what we had discussed. We can take a first, we can just take a first reading. We don't need to waive.
Okay.
And again, the language that we use is, improvements to various streets and infrastructure.
We were unsure at the last meeting when this had to be in.
No, we're good. Oh, yeah.
It's in October sometime? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's towards the end of October. We'll take a second reading on this in October 5th, so.
First meeting, okay.
Yeah, and hopefully by then, like I said, we're just juggling a lot of things.
Cordell made the motion, I think.
There's a possibility that, something happens and we don't get the funding through the, and then we want to revert back. So that's why we're juggling, but this will work and we'll have clarity once we pass it, so.
That's my story.
First reading, council? And any other question?
Oh, sure.
First reading?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Put this in her drawer, I guess.
I guess. Okay. That is all of our legislation. Old business. New business. Ms. Sheets.
I attended a meeting on Saturday, and it was for a joint meeting of the Hamilton County Municipal League, Hamilton County Townships Association, and the Hamilton County First Suburbs. I found it very interesting. It was from 8:30 to 11, and they pretty well stayed on schedule. One of the interesting things for me is they had 9 of the representatives from the southwest area of Ohio. So Blessing, Wilson, Seitz, Abram. I didn't get to hear all their names. They had some technical issues. Bridget Kelly, Brinkman, Ingram. Anyway, they presented and kind of went through. And the 3 things that they basically talked about was the legislative and congressional redistricting. And so they apparently have come up with a 4-year plan since there was not great agreement. So the redistricting will be just for 4 years, and they'll look at it again, and that's from the state legislative point of view. And it was interesting to watch the politics go on between that conversation. They also talked about the 2022 State of Ohio capital budget. And they actually said there's a lot of money out there. And let's see, I think it was Steve Wilson. He's a senator from Warren County. He talked about that he's a banker, and he's like, somebody's going to finally realize you just can't keep printing money, but we have the money, and we need to spend the money because we don't want to give it back. And so and they all kind of chimed in after him about, if you've got a project in mind, be bold and ask the question for the money. So I'm thinking, the main theater and what, different kinds of things. So they talked about that they had sent out an email to us requesting this. They didn't send it to me, so I don't know who they sent it to. We could go back and ask questions if we haven't gotten it. But they really were, if you've got projects in mind, please be bold and ask. It's going to follow, the Cincinnati business community has a criteria, and they pretty much, the way they talked is, if it gets through that process, they pretty well say good and pass it along, and then the rest of the state leadership knows that that's a good process, and quite often if the CBC approves it, the money is given. So I don't know what all that is, but it's, if there's something that we were looking to do, it might be good to do that. They also talked about how to use ARP money. They're looking, a lot of the legislation that's going to come up when they start, I guess this week they're in session, is ARP money, affordable housing for mixed use, and then looking to have, is there an option for virtual meetings again, like from ours, that we could maybe have virtual? And they asked the question, and I bet there were, I would say 50 to 60 of us in the room, and nobody objected to virtual meetings. So I thought that was interesting. If you guys know this, tell me to be quiet. You know, they also then had a presentation by Laura Bruner, who's the CEO of the Greater Cincinnati Port Authority. And apparently, as they've looked at things, so much in the world has changed in the last 6 months about the companies that are coming in and buying houses, and then they turn them around and rent them expensively, and they're not really good landlords. So I reached out to Bill and Jamie about could we have them come and speak to us. So they did a quick 10-minute presentation. We were supposed to get PowerPoint presentation, which I'm still waiting for. That was part of the technical problem they were having. Anyway, they didn't have a lot of answers for us because we had a lot of questions. People had a lot of questions about how do you keep that. The one thing that they did have passed out is this is a listing of all the areas, you're welcome to look at it, of the communities that the Port Authority has found this happening. Coleraine has 475 houses that are now in that setting. We have 62. Springfield Township has 393. So they are very, very concerned about this trend happening. So I've put a call into them and asked them if they would give Bill or Ray a call and get on our agenda, told them when we meet and that kind of stuff. So I thought it was really well worth my time to attend. There's supposed to be a meeting of the Hamilton County Municipal League December 2nd, but that's the only information they gave us. So, but it really was worth time. And I got to sit at the table with a lady who's on the city council of Blue Ash, a gentleman that's on with Wyoming, and then a couple that are from Addisonville, I think. And I mean, just to hear what they're going through and different things, it was a really good experience to hear. And the legislators, they didn't stand around and talk later. They came, they presented, and they left. But it was really interesting to hear that. And, you know, they went through and all of them stated where their priorities were going to be for this coming year.
That's good.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for the report, Cindy.
I think we have a great working relationship with the port. We've done a lot with them, but I welcome them to come back in and kind of give us an update on where things are. But yeah, they should be starting on the house on Seward, and so yeah, but it's good. I think it'd be good for them to come back in.
Great report. And if all this money's floating around out there, Cindy, find it for us.
Well, you know, I'm like, I wonder who that email went to. I mean, anybody get that email?
No, I'll have to look through.
Do you know who it came from?
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes they're disguised. You're not quite sure what the email's about because sometimes it'll.
Looks almost like spam sometimes.
Yes, it does.
yeah.
And
No,
sometimes
but
it does get spammed.
The gentleman that set it up, I have his email address, so I can work back that way.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be great.
They talked about they didn't want to be the first dollar in, but they'd love to be the cherry on the top. So, you know, if you've got a big project and you
Right.
need another they threw around 300,000 like it was like, you know, wait a minute, I'll pull that out of my pocket and here you go, because it's no big deal of money. And I thought to us, Oh, that could make all the
Is
difference
this
in
the
the
port
world.
that said that? The Port
sorry?
Authority? Is that the port that said that?
No,
Who
no,
said
this
that?
is the senator said that.
Yeah, okay.
Capital funds.
Yeah, I was wondering, because we were looking at the main theater. We were trying to look at all the angles there, too, and so,
This is the state of Ohio capital budget for 2022.
Yeah.
And this has to get in. They said really start working on it now. And so I'll reach out to my contact. Then who do I get that to? Do you?
You can get it to either of us, yeah.
Okay.
Bill, what did you say the amount that you get from the transportation fund for Compton Road, what did you say that amount was? Do you
For
remember?
for the
For the-
metro project, it's.
Yeah, the
I
repaving
think
of-
it's 860,000.
860? Wow.
Yeah, and the whole project's like a 1.1 million.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're getting eight and change from them, and then we have to.
Well, congratulations. That is so exciting.
Yeah.
very
To
exciting.
get a street for free, another one.
That's from the
Well-
SORTA levy that was passed.
Right.
Right,
I keep saying metro, but it's.
Yeah.
yes.
sort of.
Sorta.
It's nice to know we're going to get.
Especially for
some of
those
that.
of us who live on Compton.
Or the lady who came up and said, would you please take the speed bumps out? And we said, those aren't speed bumps, that's a condition of the road. Remember that? Like, no?
Okay, yes.
I want to just, there was a card, and I probably should have brought this under correspondence, but there's a card here to the City of Mount Healthy from Square Mile Coffee, thanking for us helping them through the COVID period, the generosity of the outdoor picnic tables, and if you haven't been to the back of Square Mile, the picnic tables that the city provided through the COVID money and other businesses were able to get those too, are great. It said, you've helped us tremendously and it doesn't go unnoticed. We also appreciate everything you do to help our community by supplying businesses with beautiful flowers. That's through the beautification. Square Mile truly appreciates your vision and dedication, and they just thank us. That's Tom, Trish, Gulias, and Kimberly Rollins from Square Mile Coffee.
Very nice.
Right on.
I would like to comment on the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pavilion or
The
gazebo?
pavilions, the one down at the old Jewel Recording Studio.
Tell you, that was that was outside the guys' bailiwick. I know that they really, really researched it, and I also want to mention that Justin, who works in the department, his dad actually come down and help with some of the finish work on the concrete. He had experience in that, volunteered his time, but I think it looks awesome, and
does.
everything fit. When you're doing that right, you don't do it
Yeah.
all the time. Once it goes into concrete,
Yep.
it isn't going to move, and everything came out, so it's really looking good.
Yeah.
And then the other one will be in the park, kind of the area where they set up for the lights and different things and the things, but it can be used as a shelter area too, so it'd be great.
That's great.
Yeah, the guys did a great job.
The tables are, picnic tables you're putting under it, or
yeah.
they're here?
Yeah,
those?
we held a few back from
Yeah.
what we got from,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it looks nice. I've seen it progressing. so.
thank you. Or thank them. You're
Okay,
thanking them.
anybody else? New business?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I didn't want to do it up here.
Ms. Moody has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. George has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone.